What is going on? Welcome to today's episode of the Second of Strength podcast. Wherever you are, I'm just grateful you're here. As always, I'm grateful you're spending your valuable seconds with me. If you could, take a minute and go to wherever you're listening to this and leave a rating and review. It'll help this podcast go out to more people so we can help more people, which, is my goal. I want to help you. I want to help the people you love. I want to help everyone else. So if you do that, I appreciate it. But today we're going to talk about character. And this is for teenagers, this is for you, this is for literally everybody, because character is a critical piece of development. It's a critical piece of who we are. And some of it is, some of it is a little bit easier to learn, a little bit easier to have. And some of it is, truly it's learned. You can kind of choose that character that you want to be. But today we're going to talk about that. And I believe that there are 4 pillars of strength that lead to building your character. And this isn't easy always, but Robert McKee said, true character is revealed in the choices a human being makes under pressure. And I want you to think about that, because what happens is when we are under pressure, we almost default into what we know, this innate inside of us learnings, right? And so I want us to develop these strengths and these pillars of character before we get into these pressure-filled situations, almost a predetermined choice of the things we're going to choose that is our character, so that in those moments we know how we're going to react to these situations. And all of these truly take 1 second of strength in that moment of pressure, in that moment of difficulty, to choose that path, right? Because I just believe that in a hard moment, if we make the right choice in a hard moment, that's when we feel peace. If we make the wrong choice in a hard moment, we feel an inner turmoil. It's almost this fight within ourselves, because we know we should have chosen one thing over the other. And I want us to have peace in our lives and have happiness. And some of that comes down to the choices we make in the moments that are filled with pressure, the moments that are difficult. And so there's 4 pillars of strength that I want to cover today that will help you in those moments as you strengthen your character. The first is courage. Courage is this interesting piece where I think a lot of people just believe that courage is, I think people believe that it's something that you have or you don't. You think about the Cowardly Lion and the Wizard of Oz. Well, that courage, he had it all along. It took certain situations to realize it or recognize it. But the biggest thing I want you to recognize about courage is that courage isn't something that happens in the future. It's something that happened in the past that impacts your future. And I'll explain what that means, because I think if you look back on your life, you will recognize that you had courage all along. You had courage in tons of situations. You've always had it. You've always used it. Think about walking into, your freshman year of high school for the first time, your first classes, anytime you change a situation, if you changed a job, if you started a new job, if you went to college for the first time, if you're a sports person and you got on a stage in a game, or if you're into, acting or drama, those sorts of things, like you stepped onto that stage, it always took courage. So if you look backwards, you'll recognize that you have had courage in your life all along. The question is tapping into that courage that you've already had and applying it to future situations, applying it to your now, applying it to this moment. That's where courage comes in. And every single time, I've always talked about your 1 second of strength. It's something I believe in, but I believe in that 1 second, you have the power to default to courage, to default to those past strengths that you've had, to choose in that moment to do that courageous act and move forward. Is it easy? No. Is it possible? Yes, every single time. And it's a predetermined choice that you are going to lean on those past courageous moments, find your 1 second of strength, and choose courage in that next moment. And that is the very first pillar of strength. And in a difficult moment, in a pressure-filled situation, that's when you find that 1 second of strength and choose to move forward, choose to do that difficult thing, choose to have courage, even in the face of adversity, even in the face of ridicule, even in the face of somebody not liking you. I think sometimes we want to be liked so much that we choose not to do a hard thing. Well, not anymore. You're going to do the hard thing because it's the right thing. You're going to find courage because it's the right thing to do. And that is a pillar of of strength, a pillar of your character, that if you build on that foundation, it's going to serve you in every aspect of your life. So if you're a teenager listening to this, think about that courage and how all the courage that you've had in the past, the courage that you're going to find today through your 1 second of strength, and then having that courage in the future, all of those applied moments in your life where you're going to be able to use and lean on that pillar so that in that hard moment you can step into your potential and become the person you want to become. So first pillar, courage. The second pillar in pressure-filled situations is vulnerability. I think that in today's world, there is an absence of vulnerability. I think that we are protecting ourselves. I think that we're scared that people are going to judge us. I think that we're scared that people aren't going to like us if we show our real vulnerable selves. And I hope that we can develop a pillar of vulnerability in our lives, because one thing I believe in vulnerability is that when we're vulnerable with other people, it allows them to see us for who we really are. But that is who we really are is the key that's going to help them make it through the challenges that they're facing. We almost have to talk spirit to spirit, and we do that through vulnerability. And I think it's difficult to do that sometimes. And one thing I would say is, there are people that you should not be vulnerable with, people who would take that vulnerability and use it against you. I want to be very clear about that. We don't want to, put ourselves in that situation. However, if somebody has taken your vulnerability and used it against you in the past, and that is one of the reasons we're putting up walls and not being vulnerable now, I would invite you to slowly begin to chip away at that wall that you've put up, because it is going to help you in your future to be vulnerable. It is going to help you form relationships and form bonds with people in your life. So you're the only one who gets to know how and when to do that. You know your situation better than I do, but I want you to think about that as you move forward is where and who should you be vulnerable with. But think about these pressure-filled situations, and the quote again, true character is revealed in the choices a human being makes under pressure. Well, what are those moments, and how can we impact vulnerability and be more vulnerable in those moments to help other people? But as you think about vulnerability and character, that is where, if we can be that person, we are building on a place where we can really help other people, because it leads to the next point, which is the third pillar, which is empathy. In these pressure-filled situations, if we can see other people through their eyes, see other people through their lens, see other people through the life that they're living, walk a mile in their shoes, we're going to help a lot of people in our lives. We're going to be seen as a good person. We're going to be seen as a person who helps people and cares for people. And empathy is just one of those things that I think today, as we look at our smartphones and we look at the selfie world we live in, where everything is about me showing everything that I have, and doing it for the gram and putting things on Instagram and TikTok and all these places. It's always about me. It's always about me and people seeing me and shining a light on me. Empathy is about shining a light on other people. Empathy is about seeing other people for who they are, embracing who they are, loving them for who they are. And it's a piece of building a character, your character, that is so critical, because what it does is it's going to help you help other people throughout the rest of your life. It's going to help you love people. It's going to help you help them become the best version of them, because I just believe that we live in a world that is a community. We've always been, as you think back to in our historical times, right? We lived in packs, we lived in communities, we lived with people, and we really relied on people to survive. And now, as we look at the selfie generation, we're not really leaning on other people to survive, because it's all about me. Well, we need to get back to a world where we help other people. We need to get back to a world where we help other people so that they can become the best version of them. Because regardless of if we need people to survive now, in terms of like true survival, we do need community, and we need people so that we can lift each other up and grow and become who we want to become. And other people need you as well. So in those pressure-filled moments, when you are under pressure, if you have established an essence of empathy in your life, you're going to help a lot of people. but you're also going to be seen as somebody who's loving. You're going to be seen as somebody who cares for people. And what that's going to do is it's going to draw people towards you. If you're always focused on yourself and it's always about you, you're actually going to repel people. If it's always about other people and you're helping other people, you're going to attract people, and you're going to attract people into your life. And that's where we ultimately want to want to end up, because it's going to help so many people. So think about that in terms of building your character. So number 1, courage. Number 2, being vulnerable. Number 3, empathy. And the fourth one I think is critically important is as we think about character and we think about strength, it's resilience. There's really 2 parts to resilience. There's pre-resilience and there's post-resilience. Pre an event and post an event. So as we think about our character and you think about resilience is the person who's going to stand up and continue to fight and to push and to become the person that you want, right? And so think about, in terms of resilience, a lot of that is strengthening yourself before an event. It's about building yourself up. It's about building your confidence. It's about making a predetermined choice that you're going to be the person that always stands up no matter what. There's this, and as we do that, we strengthen ourselves. It's almost like putting on your armor before you get to an event or something happens, right? Because the reality is that there's going to be times in our lives where unforeseen things happen. They hit us. They knock us down. They beat us up. Well, protecting yourselves before those things happen is the first step of resilience. The second step to resilience is standing up after that event, after something knocks you down, being that person who is going to stand up and fight. And I believe that is a predetermined choice. I believe that you can make that choice right now, that you're going to stand up and fight for yourself. And like, as you think about character, if you're that person who's always standing up, always fighting for yourself, you are going to be pretty unstoppable in your life. Think about the character that is. Think about if you're in sports or your future work or whatever that is, and something comes your way and you take it in stride, you stand up, you keep walking, you're going to be very attractive to a lot of people. And so if you're building a business and things aren't going your way, take those stripes, whatever it is, lick your wounds and stand up and go again. That is what's going to help you become the best version of you in the future. And so as you think about character, as you think about who you are, and character again is this pillar of who you are, it's your pillars of strength, and you think about courage, vulnerability, empathy, and resilience, and these 4 pillars of building your life around. Look for ways in your day-to-day where you can implement little tactics, little things that will build those tools, that will help you build on those foundations. Because as you do one of those, say it's being vulnerable in that moment, right? And you're not used to being vulnerable. If you're vulnerable in that moment, well, now you know what that feels like. Now you won't know what that looks like. And so the next time you need to be vulnerable, or you need to show that piece of your character, it'll be easier for you. And over time, every building block is going to help you and strengthen you to become that person. And every single one of these, in the moment of decision, in the moment of pressure, in the moment of difficulty, whether it's courage, vulnerability, empathy, or resilience, every single one of them takes 1 single second of strength. You have the power in that 1 second of strength to choose in that moment to be strong, to be courageous, to be vulnerable, to be empathetic towards somebody, even if it's not the popular choice, or to stand back up and be resilient. There was recently, I think I've talked about this before, but the United States steeplechase champion, he fell down a couple of minutes into the race, down, out, last place, and he came back and won. But I think that moment where he stood up and decided that, and had already predetermined that if you fall, you're going to stand up. That's that resilience. You have that power in that 1 single second of strength. So wherever you are today, I hope this helps you. I hope it helps you, your teenagers. Share it with somebody, because I think that there's people out there who need this message, who can benefit from courage, vulnerability, empathy, and resilience. So wherever you are, I'd love it if you share it. If you don't, that's okay too. Hope it helps you. Hope you can go and appreciate everybody who's already gone and left a review for the show. And I'll leave you the way I always leave you. Go find your 1 second of strength and be happy.